What province has a disability benefit? Well, I guess you're going to find out very soon because there are lots of provinces in Canada and territories, but there's one particular province in Canada that has, coming soon, is a disability benefit. I wonder what province that might be. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning into PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host, and Happy New Year to everyone. It's 2025, and got a prosperous new year ahead. Looking forward to 2025 and see what's in store for the new year. And with that being said, I have Chad Herridge joining me from Newfoundland, Canada. Hello, Chad. How are you?
How you guys doing?
Oh, good. Very good, very good. So when I made the intro regarding the disability benefit in Newfoundland. Wow, I of course I didn't say Newfoundland, but I said find out which province.
Yeah. Just for full disclosure, Chad, I love the fact that you're on as the first show of the year. This is great. Mm-hmm. So this is year 3 of the podcast, 2025 year 3. And I love that you're the first show because the last time you were on, I think it was in March, and I had such a fun time. It was when I think about it, like your story. I mean, people can go back and watch your first episode, March, like I said last year. So we won't rehash your whole story, but I mean, I'll just summarize it if I'm able to. Is the Cole's notes is that you had a heart attack while playing hockey on an ice rink, and that's a very traumatic event. But you are such a great storyteller. I just have to say you are such a great storyteller, and it was such a great conversation. I loved it, and I said I got to get this Chad Herridge back on again because it was such a good episode. So I just want to say that's why I feel blessed to have you on as the first show of the year.
Well, I appreciate that.
Is it snowing there, Chad?
No, it's actually green as can be. It's strange.
Oh.
We had no snow yet.
Yeah,
we bought a slide for our kids. We're going to try James this year. As you know, he's autistic, nonverbal. So, I mean, he's turning 9 in February. So, I mean, doing things with him is a little bit difficult, especially with my condition. And we bought him a slide and our daughter Josie a slide. So, yesterday she was crying because there's no snow to try her slide.
Oh.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yeah, it's very warm this year. So I mean, usually by now we have snow when we're deep in the winter. And I mean, hey, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'll get a snowmaking machine here and just pump some snow out there.
Don't want it.
Now, before we get too far into the podcast, Brent, and I don't want to derail the happy vibes of today's podcast at all, but I just quickly want to say that there's confusion now out there.
Yeah, there's an announcement that we need to make. Folks.
Yeah, because right now as we speak, there is 2 Twitter accounts. One of them I created, and one of them somebody else created, but one of them is called PWD Allies X-rated. And that is from somebody that we trusted to build a new Twitter site for us, and it's got your picture on it. And on that Twitter page, there is a whole bunch of just ridiculous shit about doing a nationwide rent strike and pro Palestine stuff. And I mean, I'm not gonna pick sides and say that, you know, pro Palestine or whatever. You know, we said before the show that there's good and bad people on both sides. Like, war sucks, you know. You know, again, off the show, I made the point, like, this is an old reference from War Games. I think it was from 1982, the War Games. I think it was, where there's that computer that takes over and starts almost starts a nuclear war, and then the last line is, the only winning move is not to play the game. The only winning move is not to play the game. So that's basically my stance. But again, full disclosure, my son is Jewish. My son is Jewish. He has Jewish blood because my first wife was Jewish. So my son has Jewish blood. And so, of course, I'm going to take exception to pro-Palestine stuff that says death to all Jews. I'm going to take exception to that. I'm sorry, I am. You know? So, you know, and I'll just wrap up and say the whole point of our podcast, I was going to end with a metaphor, is that when you go into a McDonald's or you go into Tim Hortons, you know, you order your ice cap, or you order from McDonald's, you order a Big Mac, and you know exactly what you're going to get every single time. Like, there's a consistency there, right? And we have built, in 3 years, we have built a very consistent podcast with a very consistent message. And this podcast, which has your name on it, and I'm the producer of, it has your name on it. This podcast has nothing to do with pro-Palestine shit. Like, what does pro-Palestine shit have anything to do with disability advocacy? It has nothing to do with disability advocacy. That's the answer. And yes, I'm getting pissed off, because I am pissed off. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say, and we're going to turn the show over and have happy vibes from now on.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry I had to say that, but it just pisses me off. It pisses me off.
No, but it got to be said.
Yeah.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that, Neil. Just to clear it up, is that there's only one Twitter account for the PWD Allies.
I've asked kind of politely and kind of not, because I was angry. I sent an angry email, so I'm asking sort of politely and sort of not, but I'm begging this person to please pull the other site, because it has nothing to do with you now. And it has nothing to do with me. So please pull the X-rated site, because it has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with Brent. And if you want to spew shit about pro-Palestine and nationwide rent strikes, you can spew that shit on your own page, but don't spew that shit on Brent's page with Brent's face on it. Don't do that, right? I'm done. Sorry.
The advocacy is about lived experience, about bringing guests on, talk about lived experience stories, and that's what the show has always been about, folks. And the X-rated one, the account was created. It was supposed to be to advertise upcoming guests to coming onto the show, not to be talking about other issues in what's going on around the world. I mean, not saying that it's not important, but that needs to be on a personal account, not on a PWD Allies an account. And so there's a lot of PWD advocates and people with lived experience, stories, and people with disabilities that are very confused right now.
Yeah, they're very confused, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, I mean, my inbox is getting flooded of people now confused. Well, what account do I go to? One's talking about a rent strike and pro-Palestine, and the one's talking about advocacy. Well, go to the advocacy, folks. I mean, the person was asked to do advocacy. We actually asked that person to do that. Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't materialize that way. But going forward, I want everybody to enjoy today's show.
Yeah. And again, the reason why we have we have Chad on is because he's got all these happy vibes, and it was amazing the first time you were on. So we're gonna just turn the page and have a great show now.
Yeah. Thanks, Chad. For being patient and our little announcement that we had to make on the show.
Yeah.
No worries. Don't worry about it. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So how are things going out in Newfoundland on the Atlantic province, the most eastern part of Canada?
Good. Good as could be, I guess. We all could be rich, but that ain't what happened. We'll see. Well, since March, as to, everything went upside down for me with my mother.
Oh, yeah.
Since we last spoke.
Right.
And,
Yes, remember that.
So it's been a busy time for that. And but happy to know, like, we found out in July that she had stage 3 cancer. And then what we found out in September that she's cancer free. So, somebody was watching out for us. So it was lucky. She came in Christmas with us, and she had a little bit of a hard time because the water they drink out there is different than the water they drink in here. So she has a colonoscopy bag now, so acid was leaking out. We pinpoint what it was. It was the difference in the water. So other than that, and then we all got sick. So
wow,
yeah, it's a huge difference on the water intake for sure.
Yeah.
How it'll affect her life. In so many ways, pure water versus water that's not as pure.
But everything moving forward. She's back on her feet, and we're lucky for that. So she's still here.
Yeah, good old H2O.
Yeah, and I can't ask for no better than that. The doctor told us she was lucky. She only had a week to live if it was going.
Oh wow!
It was staying that way, right? So I'm just happy that we prevented the worst case scenario, and she's still here, and she's able to get to enjoy the kids, and I'll put up with me, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that that she's doing well. In comparison of what how things were going, and she's kind of turned things around, and enjoy the quality her around you. Her quality of life, and having like loved ones around her, and knowing that there's a lot of love in the air. Love is in the air.
Yeah, because I already lost my father from cancer in 2010. I didn't want to lose my mother.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But thank the one above that somebody was looking out for us.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. And I always, for me, like looking at it, and you can get your response on that too, Chad. Is I always think that there's always someone watching over top and saying, no, it's not time yet. I always believe that they cherish every moment in life and to the fullest, because the always saying is woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn't do. And I look back when I lost my mother. I was adopted, so I lost my mom and my mother over different years, but I for a while I look back and I say, well, maybe I should have spent more time. Maybe I should have gone out maybe one more time and did this. And I thought, well, you know what, Brent, you enjoyed the time that you had at the time, and cherished those beautiful memories and the time spent. And so having your mom around you, it's awesome. And I'm so sorry about your dad. But you have your mom too now, and that's awesome. And you have us around you too.
But I don't want to. I'm just going to say a quick little comment. That's one thing that always has bothered me about MAiD as well, is that you're taking the control away from God when you have something like that, right? I've always believed that God brings you into the world, and God has the authority to take you out. And when you have MAiD available, I'm not saying like MAiD is all bad, but I'm just saying, like, from my perspective as somebody that does believe in God, like I'm a firm believer in, like, God brings you in and God takes you out. That end of story, right? And
we all have a number.
What's that?
we all have a number. My saying is we all have a number, and when he calls your number, no
Yeah, that's
matter
right.
where
When he calls
Yeah.
your number, you're going home, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a lottery, you know what I mean? But there's a number, and everyone's assigned a number, and nobody knows when that number is going to be called. And that's why I always say, just enjoy life, enjoy people around you the best way you can, and just cherish every moment. Life has its twists and turns and hurdles, and we just try to do the best we can in life and enjoy our company around us, enjoy loved ones, and just go forward and try and be happy as you can, and me being happy of having you on here, Chad, and talking about what you're going through, it makes me very happy.
Let's talk about the benefit, because one thing I'm not clear on. One thing I'm not clear on, Chad, is I did some back research a little bit, and just by coincidence, it says that this benefit's going to come out in July 2025. Now,
Imagine that.
everybody knows that the July 2025 is right in line with the Canada Disability Benefit. So my question to you, and I don't know if you know this, but my question to you is this new Newfoundland benefit just the Canada Disability Benefit rebranded, or is it actually a separate thing from the Canada Disability Benefit?
That's a good
So
question.
I'll lay out what the benefit is.
Okay.
So before, our province never had a disability program for adults. We only have a disability program for kids of up to age 18 or 19 called the Special Child Welfare Benefit. Now, the whole disability benefit is being revamped. I am on a board that we are starting up. It's called U2NL. It's for families like mine that has a disability kid that is not getting no funding from government to help put them in camps. And I also took on. I'm also going on a committee for Inclusion Newfoundland and Labrador now. So I'm getting my voice out there. So our benefit is the Newfoundland Labrador disability benefit. As far as I know, is going to be $400 a month. They are going to do a one-time payment of $1,200 into the retirement disability savings pension of any Newfoundlander and Labradorian. It is based on individual base income.
Oh,
good.
wow.
That is really, really
That's
impressive.
great,
So,
actually.
I mean,
Great.
this is our province outdoing the federal government, which I was blown away.
Yeah.
The negatives that I do see about it is they are following some of the same guidelines, like you must have the DTC.
Right. Okay.
You must be approved for the Canada Disability Benefit. And it is starting in July. Now, they made that announcement last year, so, I mean, it's probably based on when the budget comes in and all that stuff. I guess that's probably why. But, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get it, but if it's based on individual income, it looks like I'm going to be getting it.
Okay.
So, like when they made an announcement, I had time to look over the bill, and I think I messaged Mike Maurice and even told him, and I said, I'm shocked that our province done better than what the Canadian government done.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, $400 is not a life-changing amount. But
So
at
so
least
what
double what we were offered,
so what you're saying then is this is a separate benefit from the CDB,
and there's no cutbacks.
and in theory then, I'm just in theory, you could get this one, the Newfoundland one, and the Canadian
Federal.
Disability Benefit one. Yeah, in
Now
theory.
In
theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I watched CBC News. When was it? Was it the first or the second? And they were talking about the new decreases coming in employee pensions and all that stuff. Now they talked about the new Canada Disability Benefit coming into play in July. Now this news anchor said over 600,000 people will get it. I'm like, We're told over 600,000 from CBC News.
Yeah.
The ministers only said 25,000, so nobody has a sweet honorable clue how many they're going to get.
I just think they
So
just
somebody should know this number by now.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. 25,000, 600,000. I mean,
Yeah.
or 1.5 million originally.
Yeah, it's a big difference from
it's huge.
25,000 to 600,000.
Yeah, it's back and forth. Yeah.
You know,
It's a range. It's a range.
it's a wide range. So I'm like,
25 up
does
to
anybody not
25,000
know?
to 1.5, but 600 in the middle. Well, yeah. Potter back and forth. Yeah.
And with this new message coming from the federal minister saying that this benefit should be a build up, it seems like they're expecting provinces to pick up the slack to me, and they just want to fire a few dollars in on top of it. When it was the idea that it was going to be a federal program from the start, now
Yeah.
they're changing the narrative of it and putting the pressure on the provinces.
Mm.
You know, that to me, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of offloading it now, saying, well,
Yeah, they're offloading it. Well, we'll give the province a couple $1 million, but you got to put so much into a disability program. You're free to do what you want with the rest. Like, that's not right, because instead of getting the amount that we were all asking for, we're only going to get a percentage of it.
and it's only going to go to DTC recipients, where originally where the
That was never the part of the program.
where originally that
Right?
the Canada Disability Benefit was supposed to go to everyone.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know like Mike Morris, like you just mentioned his name a while back, and his big thing from the beginning was it has to be barrier free. It has to be a barrier free benefit, and like to have it tied to the DTC is not making it barrier free.
It's not.
Yeah.
You know, and the frustrating part too, Chad, is when MP Mike Morris, he had mentioned it in their committee stage, and they agreed. Like all the different ones around the table agreed with him that yes, okay, and he was successful in passing.
Yeah, I know.
And then all of a sudden they did a 360 and then went completely against what he said.
It's like the minister is not listening or gives a damn about any of the amendments that's coming from committee,
Yeah.
which he has to abide by because they're amended.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they had all those.
I got no time for
They
it.
had all those HUMA. They had all those HUMA like
Yeah.
things, and everybody gave their 2 cents, and it's like, you know, it's like we won't pay any attention to any of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've been calling her the minister of everything else besides disability for a long time because, I mean, for a minister of disability, knowing that the people that she's working for are living in poverty, to put up pictures of all this food and everything, and people with disabilities that are living in poverty, they're struggling for their next meal.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's just showing off. Like, you're out of touch, missus.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Well,
read your community that you represent. Like, you know, you ain't got to go far to see it.
Well, especially when they got a top advisor, you know, who was to the minister, and then dropped off because as soon as they saw the numbers on the wall, like this is not what was actually committed. And so we know what happened there.
And the other piece of it too is that not all provinces have committed to not clawing back the CDB either.
There's still, I think there's still a good few. I mean, you go on MAiD and see what provinces agreed and disagreed. But I think there's still a good few. Ontario, I know, is one of them. I don't know if they agreed or not yet.
Yeah, I promise I won't go down my lane of clawbacks, Brent, because everybody's tired about that now. But the one comment I will make is, you know, it wasn't so long ago. Just talking about here in BC. Where, I mean, we're talking very early 90s, where every benefit that we had, whether it be a pension like CPP or WCB or EI, every kind of benefit that we had was non-competitive with one another. Non-competitive. That's important to recognize, is it was non-competitive. Now all of a sudden, after you know, it was like 93, 94, all these benefits started to become income tested and competitive with one another, so that they could be canceled out and clawed back. And I mean, at that point, it just becomes nonsense because you're not benefiting the beneficiary at that point. You're benefiting like the government says, oh, thank you for your survivor's pension, Neil. Like, it's benefiting us now that we can claw it back and save money on our end, you know. But yeah, that whole thing, and like I said, I won't go down the whole thing.
But that was the frustrating part, because when I was assessed and designated as a person with disabilities by my practitioner at the time, long since retired now, I fought Chad. Like, I really said, well, I was working full time. I was actually working at two jobs full time. And I was working around the clock because I was trying to save up money so I could take my mom away, take her away on a vacation somewhere where she wanted to go to Prince Edward Island so badly to see her friend that I grew up with when I was a little kid. And then her friend moved out to Prince Edward Island. So I worked around the clock. And tried to save up for a mountain bike too at the same time, and things that I needed. And my mom was a single mother, so she didn't have a lot of money. She worked really hard to try to provide for me and my brother. But just the long story short on it is, I came a point in time where I couldn't do that job anymore. I went to college, and so I had to drop one of those jobs. And so I then cut my other full-time job down to part-time. And then I found that the studies at college were so much that I couldn't do both. Like, it was like saying, well, the employer says, well, I need you to work nighttime instead. You want to be part-time. I need to push you to nighttime, so there's a full-time person who wants to do your job now. Well, nighttime, you can imagine, you need to be sleeping, not working later at night. So I got to be up early in the morning to go to college. So I had to then drop that job. Unfortunately, I went through college, and the one course, I learned a lot. I didn't succeed in the course that I took. It got very frustrating. So it came a point of time where that basically I went to another course. I was very successful. However, I was doing an educational assessment. The government decided that they're going to put me through an educational assessment to see where I'm at. Going through that, though, I hadn't applied to disability yet, but I was advised by the college that maybe you might want to look at applying for disability, disability pension. They thought that it was a disability pension. Yeah. I said, no, I'm good. I'll just go back and get my other job back if I can't get through this course. Well, I didn't know that my job was no longer needed. It was replaced. I went to another company. Sorry, we can only give you part-time. Well, now I've still got to pay rent. My mom, so I'm thinking, what do I do? So my mom goes, well, my mom had just got onto a pension, or she was in the process of getting on it. So she had a worker who was now also handling disability stuff and also income assistance. So there was like a handling two-tiered system. They kept encouraging me to apply, Brent. And I was defiant. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I guess my dignity for myself was, no, I'm not doing that, because I wanted to be self-efficient. I wanted that autonomy for myself, making my own decisions. So long story short, Chad, is I applied. My doctor helped me through it. He also had a federal form there at the same time. And he says, the wording on this federal one versus provincial, I can't fill out this other form, Brent. You don't meet the qualifications, but you meet the qualifications on this. How is that, Brent? I go, I don't know. I know you since you were a little toddler. Yeah. So I know that this one here you're going to meet, this one you're not. How is it? The language
that they used to put that they used to put on the disability, like on the tax form.
Well, that's what he said.
The tax exemption for the language is so strong.
Well, that's what he said. It was the language that was in it, and it was all it was basically yes or no. Like, it was not a clean one, and so he was frustrated. So he said, like they're declining you for federal, but they're going to approve you for provincial. So he says, well, there you go. There's your pension. I'm like, and he thought, and I didn't know it. He thought it was a pension. So I said, okay. And when I found out it wasn't a pension, they had changed that. So turning a pension into a non-pension, and now if Newfoundland's going to be doing that, turning it into like something that wasn't even a disability benefit, but making it a pension, I'm wondering if other provinces are going to now do that too. Or now, say BC thought, hey, this is a great idea. Newfoundland doing.
I hope so.
Let's turn something like a pension into a non-pension, but now let's go back and turn it back in again.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. But only certain people are going to qualify for it.
I know the amount And the amount is going to be priced to index too. So I mean,
Oh.
every
Yeah,
year, so we're looking at an increase.
That's huge.
That's great
So I
too.
mean,
Yeah.
if every province, I'm not bragging about our province or nothing, but I mean, if every
You can
province,
though.
Sure, why not?
if every province followed the footsteps and gave everybody an extra $400, and then if they were able to manage to get the other two, I
600.
mean, we're halfway to our goal
Exactly.
we're asking for. I mean, $600 up is better than $600 down.
Exactly.
Yeah, you pass that little line, yeah, you just, that's like
Right.
that one step forward.
You know, and I mean, if they're going to give you a $1,200 payment on your retirement disability savings plan, I know you can't access that now, but I mean, it's good for later down the road. If you got a kid, it's good for them. If you don't make it to them, it's passed on to them as your beneficiary.
Yeah.
So, and the big thing to me is the individual income.
That's
Oh,
huge.
huge.
That's huge.
That's a big one.
That's a
Really
huge one. Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it was tied to family income, I wouldn't get it.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
that's
the big thing.
what I'm worried about the CDB here is because like I already get I already get the Canada disability the child tax benefit I meant to say child tax benefit for my
I know
son.
you.
TB.
And I think to myself, well, maybe that's gonna put me over the threshold. Like maybe that
But now that
alone
one's tax free.
maybe that alone is gonna disqualify me from the CDB.
But that one's tax free, so it shouldn't.
Wow, we'll see. I don't know. I don't really trust anybody at this point, but we'll see.
No, because like my wife works with Government Newfoundland Labrador. She works at a senior citizens home. So I mean, she's bringing home 45 grand a year. But I mean, that 45 grand is only getting us by, week to week to week. My two kids bump up my pension. But when it comes to income tax time, the way my pension is broke down is their portion is took out of my T4. So they each get a T4. So
Right.
Neil, yours is probably the same.
Yeah.
Right? So Josie gets a T4, James gets a T4, then I get a T4. So when I get my T4, I'm only left with 13 grand. So looking at this, I'm confident to say that I will be getting this benefit for sure.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm hoping that many more in our province that need it will get it. And I'm hoping many other provinces will follow suit with this because this is a good starting point to me.
It is. Yeah.
Well, it's not the pot of gold.
Yeah.
But something is better than nothing.
The rainbow is over there. I always say get the pot of gold on the other side of the rainbow.
And
something is better than nothing.
You know, and that's the thing is like I'm only going to compare BC because that's where I am.
Yes.
But when you consider BC's history, it really has been like many steps backwards. If you start at early 1990s, disability support was a pension. It was a pension, so it was a guaranteed income support. And then all of a sudden they said, well, you know what? It's not going to be a pension anymore. And then it became, you know what? We're not going to we're going to make it a competitive benefit where instead of a non-competitive benefit where other benefits are if they intertwine, they'll just start to cancel each other out and they're clawed back because it never used to be that stuff, right? It used to be a system based on fairness, based on equity. I mean, governments love to use the term equity, but do they really know what it means?
They don't.
Like honestly, do they really know what it means? Because
They don't.
Because if they really knew what it meant, like you don't all of a sudden like transition from a competitive from a non-competitive system to a competitive system and say that's equity, because it's not, right?
They love turning pensions into pink unicorns. Yeah. And that's the problem is how governments they'll say, well, look what we did though. We did something good. And the general public will look at it and say, well, yeah, but the government did this. Isn't that great? And that reminds us of a segment that we did. Remember, Neil? look at those teeth. I mean, wow,
yeah.
commercial, look what we did. But
Yeah.
the underlying issue is it's like a propaganda put out there.
Yeah.
And like the belief is like, oh, well, people with disabilities, oh, well, they get their rent included. Like, I mean, on top of their check.
Yeah.
No, it's all included.
Yeah.
But they're saying, hey, I mean, so yeah, with the pension getting turned into a pink unicorn, it doesn't make things better for people with disabilities in Canada.
Because like,
I'm just adding up numbers.
Pension, like say there was like a
you're doing some number crunching right now.
Yeah, like say there was a senior who all of a sudden had their pension and it was taken away and it was actually changed into income based.
Yeah.
I mean, the outrage.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a bus pass. You know, same thing.
Yeah.
It was bus pass and then it got turned into options.
Yeah.
So the max amount, I just took Ontario.
Okay.
Apparently, the max amount for Ontario disability is $1,368. That's the max amount for this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
So if Ontario come out with the same plan and they give everybody the $400, they'd be bumped up to $70.68.
oh,
You know. But now I know Ontario, it's expensive to live. Yes.
Yeah.
And that should be factored in as well. I mean, right now it's expensive everywhere, no matter where you are. But I know in Ontario, yes, it's more expensive.
Yeah.
The max benefit for CPPD is $1,606.78. So if they applied the max benefit to everybody, that's another easy way out to me because they already control CPP. So if they come out with legislation and say everybody is guaranteed the max CPPD, everybody will get the 1606.78, and then if every problem is chipped in with the 400, you'll be up to 2006.
Yeah.
there's that 2000 number.
Which isn't great, but it's way better than
It's way better than 1100, 1200
now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's only with the province portion. So then if they add the $200 extra from the Canada Disability Benefit, I mean, you're looking at $2,200 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
At least then you have kind of a fighting chance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. Especially when it's tied to.
You're able to get there
COLA.
and not cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it's tied to COLA. I mean, cost of living adjustments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's guaranteed that it's going to go up every year.
Every year.
Ontario, their disability ODSP, they've tied it to inflation.
And theirs go up in July, don't they?
Yeah, automatically. So if they don't even give an increase on it, it's automatically going to go up. Where BC still hasn't.
BC doesn't do that.
No, they has to, but
ours is going up now in January, 2.6%.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for the CPPD.
Okay.
Oh geez.
Yeah. So that's equal to about $48 extra a month.
Yeah. Well, that's not nothing again. So that's
Well, exactly. Like my mother always said, it's better in your pocket than in their pocket,
Yeah,
whether it's $20 or not.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And you start to see that philosophy, right?
Well, especially, I mean, like if somebody's renting somewhere and they get a rent increase and it goes up by based on inflation every year, it's a different amount. But if you don't get an increase on your amount, you got to cut back somewhere else.
That's right.
And that's what happened in BC. Like they didn't get nothing in the budget this year, but then the government says, "Well, but we raised the rates 5 times since we formed government." It's like, it's like that rhetoric, right? It's like go or skip a year.
Yeah, I've seen that announcement from David Ibby. Is his name?
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. Yeah,
instead of legislating it to be once a year and then they're done with it.
Yeah, exactly. Automatically increase it. So then if they don't give an increase, well, at least you're getting an increase based on inflation.
Yeah. So I mean, like it's already done. The work is done.
Yeah. They don't.
Everybody else is putting the cost of living index cost on it. So why do you have to be different?
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of wondering too on that, Chad. Like I was thinking about that the other day too. I thought, like, it's not hard to just tie it to inflation. Like, and then they don't have to do anything. It's just automatically it just goes up.
Yeah.
Because even the new Canada Disability Benefit is tied to inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go figure. I mean, wow.
Go figure, yeah. I mean, the people that's in charge of doing the, what can I say, laying out the process for this application, they don't have a clue about being disabled.
No.
They don't know how to read the community.
No.
They're deaf. They got their hearing aids turned off because they got a number in mind and they're stuck to it, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now with all this can I say, shit show on the go with the Liberal government.
Mm.
It's not helping.
Yeah, they're down to 16% in the polls apparently, so they're not doing too well. They're not.
Right? You know, like, I mean, I've wrote my MP, I never heard nothing back. I wrote Tracy Gray, she has replied back, which I'm surprised. Mike Morris always writes back.
Yeah, he's great.
Anito Zanero, they never wrote back. None of the NDP wrote back to me. Actually, the president, Mary Shortall, who's running for the MP seat here in St. John's East, she has been in contact with me a few times. And I told her, like, why is the NDP pulling away from the Canada Disability Benefit? Because we hear very little. If we do, it's only MP Zorello speaking up. And basically, you guys helped the Liberals pass the budget. So therefore, you guys were okay because you knew this $200 benefit was in this budget. So you guys were okay with this.
Yeah.
The Canadians with disability community would have been more happy with you guys if you voted no to the budget because of what this bill was, because of this benefit was a failure. Which they promised us, they told us they would do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I said, I said to Mary Shorter, I said, you guys were fighting for us and all of a sudden you're happy with the benefit. And then you come on TV and say, no, we're not happy.
Yeah.
Well, why did you vote for it?
Well, and we had Michael Prince on with Neil Belanger, Brent, and it was the terrific duo of the two of them, and they both said that the whole CDB was a gut punch. That was their term, gut punch.
Yeah.
And it really is a gut punch to the people that are dependent on it, like us.
Well, yeah,
and that's what they're failing to see.
And they were the top advisors to the minister. I mean, and as soon as they saw what was going on, they couldn't continue on. They dropped off because it was nothing that they.
Well, they wasn't listening to the advisors.
Exactly, that's terrible. I mean, you don't want to listen to your own advisors and all the disability advocates and organizations across the country, and even some of their own members told them, don't do it this way, and they went ahead and did it anyway. It's like, wow.
I think it was a little too late for certain Liberal MPs to speak up and say, well, we got to get this benefit done. We got to get this benefit done, because that was the only one time that we heard from them. When they passed the benefit, they never spoke a word.
Yeah,
they got muzzled. They got basically totally muzzled. And
but are they happy with what we got? Because I mean, if you're living off what a person with disability is living off of, you're not happy. Well, you're far from happy.
And again, that goes back to my point of like this whole regression. It's been a purposeful regression of again, the governments like to talk about equity, but they don't know what it means. Like, it's just like, let's dumb things down and strip things away and make benefits worse. Let's make benefits a lot worse and competitive, and we'll call that equity. So it's been 30 years of continual regression to where we are now, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I thought people were supposed to like progress, not regress.
Well, and that's why the Canada Disability Benefit was supposed to be originally, when it was first announced, was supposed to be a life-changing benefit. And I mean, the opportunity is still there for the government to do the right thing and actually commit to what they promised.
Their time is running out, I think.
And now they're basically all confused, going, "Uh-oh, we screwed up," and they don't want to admit it. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, if somebody messes up and say, "Look, you know what? I screwed up, or I made a mistake. Sorry. I'm going to do better." Like, and just promise to commit to that promise, but they won't do it. And Chad, I mean, like the disability community across Canada. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it too. I mean, the outrage that people are posting. They're hammering at the NDP, at the federal NDP, saying, like you guys did this. Why? Like, why exactly? I'm glad that you mentioned that. And
I was one of them. Because I wasn't very long, and I had Mary Shortall's email popped up there, and I started writing her, and then she passed it off to somebody else. I think he was the vice president or something.
Well, even the leader, like people were going leader going like, why won't we talk about disability? Are you scared of the word disability? And then all of a sudden, boom, he starts talking about people with disabilities. Well, where were you? Like, I mean,
and I mean, it was only for a few days, and then he switched to. I mean, I was watching one day, and he got up and he was speaking about Rogers, and I'm like, oh, so this is more important now than what we are. Okay.
Yeah.
That didn't take long to change.
Yeah.
I always say is like having them all work together, keep on the same theme and keep on topic and get this damn disability benefit out to people and don't tie it to a DTC. Do what was recommended in the community stage, and I mean everyone's going to prosper because you give people more money, they're going to put the money back into the community that they live in. Into the
revenue, Obviously, you get more money, you spend more money.
Exactly.
And it's like another thing. Like, why wait till July 2025 to start putting money in people's bank accounts because of a long process, which is BS? Because look how long it took them to give us the GST holiday.
Oh, right. Oh, yes. Yeah. It was very quick, wasn't it? And
that's that. Boom. Trying to buy votes.
Yeah. Free Christmas trees for everyone.
Yeah. Here's some food for thought for you. I'm going to give you a little scenario here, Chad. Is okay. So we had our BC provincial election, and before the election happened, all the the parties that are running, they're going to have their platforms out, and each one's going to say what they want to get for people with disabilities. Well, we had the BC Conservatives. There was nothing in there. Okay, no, I mean whatever. That's their decision. Then we had the BC Greens. Okay, so the BC Greens says $2,400 is what they're going to run on the campaign for.
Yeah, I seen that. I followed that closely, actually.
Yeah, and then we had the BC NDP. Well, I'm looking right away. Of course, I'm going to be interested. Okay, because I mean I'm in BC, so I'm looking through. I'm combing through really quickly. Okay, nothing. Oh, hang on, I stumbled across it. CDB, Canada Disability Benefit. What? They're going to wait on the federal government in July of 2025 to basically get it right. Well, that's like me going, hey, Chad, I'm going to throw all my eggs in one basket because the federal government's going to do the right thing. Well, we know almost 5 years now, we're actually the 5th year now, they haven't done the right thing.
No.
So that's like saying, they're gonna get the benefit right. So, it's just like, wow.
And I mean, they may never finish the process because, I mean, the way this government's going, it could topple anything.
Well, but the one good thing is that the CDB is now basically law.
Yes. Legislated.
It's legislated, so that's a good thing.
The problem, though, I mean, even though it's legislated, they could say, well, here's $1. You know what I mean?
They could. They could.
Tied to it.
They could.
Yeah. Or $5. They'll say, well, we've got more to do.
$5. Everybody get a pizza.
$5 for you.
I mean, we know the way the polls are looking, so I mean, we know there's going to be a conservative government. I mean, we got a long history down here of when Danny Williams was our premier, and he come out and said he ran an ABC campaign against the federal conservatives, anything but conservative. Our president's really stuck with that.
Yeah, that's it's going to be interesting because I think that's probably what's going to happen is that there'll be a federal conservative government. Yeah. Now the question is that will they have the NDP or I guess it probably maybe be, I don't know, as a sidekick with them. But if they have a majority, they don't need the NDP.
No.
And then or the Green Party or anybody. So how that Canada Disability Benefit is going to go. That's going to be an interesting one because then they're going to say, well, the previous government, they overspent way too much money. We need to cut. Healthcare services, transfer payments to provinces. So now the provinces now need to either provide their own and do the right thing, or they're going to wait on that federal government. Well, if you're going to wait on this, if we see the golden ball here, the crystal ball, I would say it's probably not going to happen. That way, I think provinces need to do their own thing.
Yeah. And that's like a while back, I believe there was a Liberal MP from Nova Scotia, I think, who he actually tweeted, said that this Liberal government has done more for people with disabilities than any other government. And I'm telling you, I wasn't long messaging him and basically laughing at his face like, you're a liar, man. Because I said, I'm a person with disability, and I said, we've been waiting 5 years for this stupid benefit that you give us.
Yeah.
And is a slap in the face to every Canadian with a disability because it's not what we asked. We wasn't listened to. All the time spent on it was a waste of time, complete bullshit.
Yeah, blank paper too. It makes like a pen right there, but there's nothing on the paper.
Yeah, I said you guys came out with CERB in less than 2 weeks, but yet it takes 5 years for a disability tax benefit to come in play. Why? Well, you don't get no response, right?
Well, especially with the Canada Disability Benefit, I mean, like when CERB came out as a comparison, like 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks, then it came out, and I mean, sure, the government, they screwed up. I mean, they started issuing it all over. Apply for it, and then we'll figure it out later. I remember that one line. And here Justin Trudeau was asked by the media, "Well, is it going to go to everybody?" I mean, he goes, "Just apply for it. We'll figure it out later." Well, I mean, employees at CRA were basically getting it too.
Yeah.
Why can't they do the same logic with the CDB? Everybody gets it.
Everybody gets it. You get it.
This $250 rebate thing that they were coming out with.
You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car.
If you were working in 2020, what was it, 2023, and you made $150,000 or less, you were going to get a $250 check. But if you were getting nothing.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell, man? Like,
or you get a multi-billionaire who doesn't put their taxes in, and I don't get anything. Okay, here's $250.
But Chad, they were offering 7% off on a Christmas tree.
So I don't need one. I mean, that notion there was another vote tactic, as far as I'm concerned, because I mean, how can Justin Trudeau say, well, a person making $150,000 is feeling the crunch too, compared to a person that's probably making 40? Oh, hell no, they're not.
Yeah. And then we're going to give out $250. I mean, for that. And then they mentioned about issuing out the checks to people, and then people with disabilities. Like there was nothing there. Then all of a sudden, they were going to. Then it got canceled completely out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and let's go back to COVID, when COVID first hit the scene, and I think the logic for a lot of politicians was like, well, now everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's in the same boat, and it's like, excuse me, no, everybody's got different size boats. Yeah. There's actually there's people in little dinghies. There's people in leaky boats. There's people that are hanging onto boats that are drowning.
Like goddamn cruise ships.
Yeah, exactly. So don't say we're all in the same boat. We all have different boats.
Because I mean, when COVID started, that the media basically interview us and ask us, well, how would that benefit you if the government was to get a supplement going? I said, well, it'd be huge. I mean, economically, we could make better decisions of buying different kind of foods that need for diet wise. I mean, there's certain foods I can't eat. I have to eat certain other foods, and it just doesn't agree with me. Or maybe I need to buy other adaptive equipment for mobility for me. And they go, oh wow, so it'd be a huge life-changing situation for you. I go, absolutely. I could also move to a better place for accommodation that I could afford. So it would be very rewarding. I go, correct. And that's what the media asked me. Then they asked Sonia how would it change her. I mean, for diabetes and for her health in general and her well-being, it would change her life and same thing. So we told our stories, and it was interesting during COVID chat because they had this long microphone and like the long stick way and they're like, like this. And so we're standing way back, and
everybody's 6 feet apart.
Yeah. So I had other media that all of a sudden they started contacting me. Oh, we want to do a story. It was quite warm out, but it was cold. But the temperature changed rapidly all of a sudden, and I still remember. And I guess I was just in that mode where I was so excited. I want to tell my story. So I'm filming with a cameraman. He sent a cameraman out, and he's filming me, and I'm standing across from where I was living over at another building, and I guess he wanted the backdrop to make it look neat, like a stairwell going up, like a ramp going all the way up, and I guess he liked that. So I'm standing here talking, and someone came over me, And I guess it was something that I had eaten and it upset my tummy, and I didn't realize. But you get into that mode where all of a sudden you're like, whoa, like you started feeling kind of like woozy, and I just like, okay, Brent, just ignore it, just keep going. And it just started overwhelming me all of a sudden. And I was talking, and he was recording me, and I was like, and also I remember it's like that. All of a sudden, Sonia came by, and, oh, you okay? She grabs me the camera. I go, are you okay? I go, yeah. So he stopped recording, and then he goes, oh, here, I'll get you in my car. So he drives me around to where I'm living. He goes, okay, we'll do this again. So I just kind of recouped myself and redid the story. But it goes to show that how things can affect you if you eat the wrong things, or you get overwhelmed. And I guess a little bit of heat exhaustion must have got me on top of that and combined. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm trying to tell a story how things would affect my life in, having extra revenue versus not, and making decision making. So when we moved into a place, and we had a COVID supplement in BC. So they gave $300. And they said they were going to do it in increments to see how this would change a person's life going forward. And they were going to revisit it every 3 months or 4 months. So, okay, well, yes, it's great. So they kept it going. Then they decided the government decided, well, we're going to now start slowly ticking down this benefit. I guess it was making better people's lives. So we don't want to make it better in their lives. So we need to now take no less than 50% away. So they took 175 of it away.
They did it for equity, Brent. They did it for equity.
Yeah. So you got to keep 175 of it. So we had moved into a new place because I was told by our ministry, Chad, that going forward, because we had moved into a new place, and I went to the office, and they said, Brent, going forward, this is the amount that you get. I go, well, the supplement? No, they're going to keep that in place, just so you know. The government just telling me they're going to keep this in place, so yeah, you're good to go. So any landlord that you go to in the future, whatever it is, this is the amount going forward, and then increases will come after that. Oh wow, okay. So yeah, you have nothing to worry about. So I go to my corporate landlord that I was renting from. This is the amount. Okay, so no problem. We'll rent to you. So then the government decided they wanted to end the COVID supplement, part of it. So 300, it went down to 175, and then they were going to completely end the program. So we got the media involved. They got Global News came out, and they interviewed me. Yeah, Global News right there. Hey, I recognize you. It says hello, and I'm like, wow. I always wanted to meet the one reporter. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. My landlord, my manager is walking down the sidewalk. Everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. I'm just interviewing them, and I'm telling the story. Like, if they take this away, we're going to lose our housing, and we're going to have to move into a subpar housing, and our food, our quality of life, we won't be able to buy the appropriate food, nutritional food that we need, and pay bills. It's so many things. So, like, when governments make these decisions about clawing back money, it has a huge effect on a person's well-being. I said, because I can't put the money back into the community that I live in, that I grew up in. I'm going to have to move. And so, yeah, like that's kind of where that stands on that, Chad, is like government's decision making has a huge effect on a person's well-being. But then 2 years later, after that, they gave back the 125. They gave it back. They give it to some.
You know what, Brent? I was fishing down on the floor because I dropped the mouse. So there was going to be no way for me to end the show, and we're at the end of the show now. Actually, I have to say. But before we end the show, I just wanted to also say we have Birdie in chat. So that's really cool. And one of the comments she says is she says, "Agreed, chat. Thank you for saying so clearly." She says that Newfoundland is next level expensive, so she's appreciated the show. Yeah.
Everything comes by boat.
Yeah.
Hearing about what that benefit, how it will really change things out in your area. Hopefully that comes to materialize, and that it does stay as a household. Not a household, as an individual basis, and every province will then echo and do the same thing based on an individual basis. But don't tie it to a DTC.
That's right.
Yeah. And then, I mean, because it really it makes it better for everybody in society. People be able to buy things that they need and put money back into the community. It really helps businesses and everybody all around. I really.
Well, it's a win-win for everybody, as far as
Yeah,
I'm
it does.
concerned.
It just prospers. It makes prosperity better, right?
You know.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
So again, Chad, you are show number 1 for 2025.
Number one.
And I feel like this is great. I love having you on again.
Awesome.
So what I did is if you go to our YouTube page, you'll now see another new playlist that's 2025 now, 2025 year 3.
And he's top the chart.
And Chad and Chad is number 1. Chad is the first video on the playlist. So there you go.
Yeah. Number 1 on the charts.
Oh, and I should say it's the same logo. It's the same maple leaf picture with the logo and everything. But it's blue. I have a blue maple leaf now.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Neil's voting conservative.
And there you go. Yeah. There you go. Well, I was thinking about the Toronto Maple Leafs maybe, so I was appeasing them.
Oh God, no! I'm an offensive God.
Oh, yeah. I want to thank you so much, Chad, for coming on, being our first guest of 2025, and look forward to many more times for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
it was great.
Once I find out more about the benefit, I'll let you guys know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Keep us posted on that.
I will keep you posted because I'm in contact with the minister's office too, for disability, for funding for James, and quote unquote interesting part of his IRT teacher up in school. His IRT teacher is the daughter-in-law of the minister.
Oh wow!
Oh.
So I got that on my side too, right?
That's almost that almost sounds like a movie, Chad.
Yeah,
right? It almost sounds like a movie.
And my MHA is working on it here, my local MHA, Fred Hutton. And so, yeah, we do have stuff in the works, hopefully. I'm waiting to hear back now, so,
Most definitely. That sounds wonderful. It's definitely a lot of good times ahead of something to look forward to, for sure.
Hopefully, hopefully this is a thing to come for every province, this benefit,
Yeah.
Hopefully this is a stepping stone that other provinces copy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I remember always back in the Western province in BC, they always say, well, BC is leading the country, other provinces to show. But now this time, no, it's Newfoundland that's going to lead.
There you go.
Yeah. Who has to be the leader? Newfoundland has to be the leader because the other provinces don't want to follow. So, yeah.
And I'm proud of the work that went into this. Now, I never had nothing to do with this, but I mean, I'm proud to relay the message.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah.
Because, I mean, you go from nothing to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It shows you what can be done.
If they listen.
Yeah, if they listen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Totally. You must have been reading my mind, Chad. Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, if they listen, yeah. Well,
it shows what can be done if you got a group of community that listen to each other and work together.
Communication.
Yeah.
It's all about communication. It's all about having all hands on deck and working together and just getting something that is going to help everybody, with a disability. I mean, anyone, anytime can get more disabilities in life. I mean, they just compound and we just work with things the best way we can.
Well, that's the goal, to make life better for people with disabilities.
Exactly. And disabilities don't end at 65 either. No,
that's true.
They continue on.
Well, I mean, they could begin at age 0.
Oh,
yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can too from James, right? Because I mean,
and mine too. Mine too started.
He's not. He'll be 9 in February now, and he still can't speak a word. So
I want to thank you very much for coming on. It's been a great pleasure, definitely, and I love to kind of touch base and find out more about the provincial version of a disability benefit, not the Canada. Kind of more about the Canada disability benefit. Well, everybody knows where that one's going. It's right down the shitter right now. But it can be fixed. It can be fixed if they really put their mind to it. I always say, mindset.
Yeah,
It's
that's right.
mindset, right? And really put your mind to it, and it can be done. Federal government, let's show me the money, show me that you can do it, and I'll believe it when it's in the bank account. Because right now BC is counting on you to do it because they didn't put nothing in their budget last year because they're waiting on you guys to do the right thing. So yeah, I mean, 5 years later,
Somebody got to have the will and the gall to actually sit down and do it.
somebody needs to get the cat by the tail and the dog and make them chase around each other until it's done and put them in one room. Yeah. I want to thank all of our listeners and our people watching live today for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. Always entertaining, having wonderful guests on, like today, Chad Herridge from Newfoundland. And, for 2025, we're always looking at other ways of enhancing the show. Definitely reach out to Neil and we'll, get you scheduled in. We'll do our best anyway to accommodate. Sometimes schedules don't always overlap, or we'll see what we can do.
And remember, there is actually only one true Twitter page right now. The X-rated one is not the official page. Again, the X-rated one is not the official page. If you look at, if you just type PWD Allies, it doesn't say the X-rated. That is the official page. But anyway,
just PWD Allies.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, the one without my picture on it is the real one.
That's right. No.
Yes.
If it has no picture of Brent, that's the real one. Yeah.
The one that's like this. See? Off camera.
That's right. Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for
see you, everyone. Okay.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.